It was a quiet village, nestled between soft hills and tall trees, where the stars shone a little brighter and the moonlight gently kissed the rooftops every night. In that peaceful village lived a little girl named Meru, who loved moonlit skies, sweet stories, and gentle dreams. She would sit by the window every night, watching the stars twinkle like they were winking just at her. Not far from the village, on top of a small hill, stood an old wooden cottage. The villagers called it Jaduke Jonpra, the Magical Cottage. No one went near it, but they always whispered stories about it. Some said it appeared only under the full moon. Some said it glowed with a soft blue light. But to Meru, it was simply magical. She would stare at it from her window and wonder what was inside. One night, when the moon was full and round, and the breeze smelled like jasmine, Meru felt something special in the air. She lay down in her bed, closed her eyes, and whispered, "I wish I could see inside the magical cottage." As soon as she whispered those words, her room filled with a soft silver glow. Before she knew it, she was floating, not high, not scary, just gently, like a feather on the wind. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in front of the cottage. It wasn't scary at all. The windows sparkled like stars, and the door had a tiny sign that read, "Welcome, Meru." Slowly, she stepped inside. Inside the cottage, everything shimmered. There were shelves filled with glowing books, cushions that floated slightly above the ground, and tiny candles that danced without flames. In the middle sat an old man with a long silver beard and kind eyes. He smiled as if he had been waiting for her forever. "Welcome to my cottage, Meru," he said warmly. "I am Mr. Nuru, the guardian of dreams." Meru smiled shyly. "Are you really magical?" she asked. Mr. Nuru chuckled softly. "Only in the way all kind hearts are magical," he said, handing her a small star-shaped candy. "This is a dream sweet. When you eat it, you can fly through dreams, visit the stars, and hear the songs the moon sings when no one is watching." Meru took a tiny bite. Instantly, she felt light as air. Her feet lifted off the ground, and soon, she was flying, through the clouds, over the village, into the sky where stars danced and the moon sang in a voice like a lullaby. She flew beside owls who whispered secrets, over rivers that glowed in the dark, and through gardens made of stardust. After a while, she floated back down into the magical cottage. Mr. Nuru was waiting with a soft blanket made of moonlight. "It's time to rest now," he said, wrapping her in the warm, glowing cloth. "You can come back any night. Just close your eyes and believe." As Meru drifted into sleep within her dream, everything around her faded gently. The stars blinked slower, the breeze hushed itself, and the moon smiled one last time before hiding behind the clouds. The next morning, Meru woke up in her bed. Her window was still open, and the moonlight had been replaced by golden morning sunshine. But on her pillow lay the tiniest star-shaped candy, just like the one from her dream. She held it close and smiled, knowing the magical cottage was real and always waiting for her. Once upon a time, far beyond the mountains and deep beyond the clouds, there was a hidden place known only to those who believed in dreams. It was called Shiha, the city of sleep. No one could find it on a map. It only appeared when the world was quiet, the stars were twinkling, and a child closed their eyes with a soft smile. In a small village, a boy named Rayan lived with his grandmother. Rayan loved stories and stars, and every night, he would lie in bed and wonder where dreams came from. One evening, his grandmother sat by his bed and whispered, "There is a city in the sky where all dreams are born. It's called Shiha. Only those with kind hearts and sleepy eyes can enter." That night, Rayan closed his eyes and whispered, "I wish to go to Shiha." As soon as he said it, he felt his bed becoming soft like a cloud. A gentle breeze touched his cheeks, and when he opened his eyes, he wasn't in his room anymore. He was floating slowly through a sky full of stars, and beneath him, golden lights began to glow. There it was, a city floating in the clouds, with glowing towers, quiet streets, and silver trees whose leaves sang lullabies. The air smelled like warm milk and soft cookies. Everything shimmered softly, like moonlight wrapped in velvet. Rayan landed at a gate made of dreams, literally. It sparkled and shifted colors as if made from 1,000 dreams stitched together. A gentle voice welcomed him. "Welcome, Rayan, to the city of sleep." He stepped in and looked around. The streets were lined with sleepy creatures, talking pillows, flying blankets, and slow-walking teddy bears. Some were yawning, others humming lullabies, and everyone moved calmly, without any hurry. A soft light guided him to the center of the city, where a fountain flowed, but not with water. It flowed with golden dreams. Each droplet carried a tiny glowing image, a child smiling, a kite flying, a puppy wagging its tail. These were dreams from around the world, all gently flowing through Shiha. Rayan met a wise old kid named Ustadnaps, who wore glasses and a tiny hat. Ustadnaps said, "This city is where every good dream is born. We collect the kindest thoughts, the softest hopes, and the sweetest wishes from children like you. Do you live here forever?" Rayan asked. The cat smiled and shook his head. "No one stays forever. You come when your heart is calm and your mind is ready to rest. Then we send you back, with a dream to carry you through the night." Just then, a cloud carriage arrived, pulled by yawning fireflies. It was time to return. Ustadnaps gave Rayan a small glowing star and whispered, "Whenever you feel tired, just close your eyes and hold this. Shiha will find you again." Rayan climbed into the carriage, feeling lighter and sleepier with each breath. As he floated back through the clouds, he could hear the lullabies of the trees, the whispers of the stars, and the quiet hum of dreams surrounding him. When he opened his eyes, he was back in his bed. Everything was still, soft, and peaceful. But next to his pillow lay the tiny glowing star, just like Ustadnaps had given him. He smiled, snuggled into his blanket, and closed his eyes once more, already dreaming of the quiet city among the clouds, the city of sleep. Once upon a time, in a quiet meadow filled with flowers and soft winds, lived a tiny butterfly named Titlai. She had wings that shimmered like rainbows, and wherever she flew, the flowers gently swayed in happiness. Titlai loved the sunlight, the cool breeze, and the scent of blooming roses. But more than anything, she loved to look up at the sky when night fell. Every evening, when the sun went to sleep, Titlai would sit on a soft leaf and stare at the stars. She thought they were the most beautiful things in the sky. She often wondered what it would feel like to talk to a star, to fly up and touch one, just once. One night, the sky looked especially clear. The stars sparkled like tiny diamonds, and the moon smiled softly. As Titlai looked up with dreamy eyes, she noticed something unusual. One star was blinking gently, almost like it was trying to get her attention. Curious, Titlai whispered, "Hello, are you blinking at me?" To her surprise, the star blinked again, and then she heard a soft, kind voice from above. "Yes, little butterfly. My name is Tara, and I've been watching you for many nights. You always look up with such wonder. Would you like to visit me?" Titlai's wings fluttered with excitement. "Oh yes, but I don't know how to fly that high." Tara laughed softly. "Close your eyes, little one. Let your heart be light, and I will help you." Titlai gently closed her eyes. A warm breeze wrapped around her like a soft blanket, and before she knew it, she was rising into the sky, higher and higher, past the tallest trees, through clouds that felt like cotton candy, until she reached the stars. There, floating beside Tara, Titlai looked around in awe. The sky was filled with silver bridges, glowing paths, and star creatures dancing slowly to the music of the night. Tara twinkled gently. "Welcome to the Sky Garden, where dreams are made and kept safe. Every star here holds a dream from someone on Earth." Titlai smiled wide. "This is more beautiful than I ever imagined." Tara glowed brighter. "Would you like to help me tonight?" "Help you? With what?" asked Titlai. "Tonight, we're sending peaceful dreams to the world," Tara explained. "You can carry them with your wings and sprinkle them like stardust over sleeping children." Titlai nodded happily. Tiny sparkling dream drops appeared around her, and with a little swirl, she flew across the sky, leaving trails of gentle light. Wherever she passed, children smiled in their sleep, safe and warm under her glow. Hours passed like minutes. The stars started to yawn, and the moon began to lower. Tara floated close to Titlai and said, "It's almost morning. It's time for you to go back." Titlai felt a little sad. "Will I ever see you again?" Tara smiled. "Every time you look up at the night sky and believe, I will be there. And if your heart is light, you may visit me again." With that, the soft breeze returned and gently carried Titlai back down to the meadow. She landed softly on her favorite leaf, just as the first rays of the sun touched the flowers. The meadow was quiet, but something sparkled at the edge of her wing, a tiny star-shaped mark, glowing softly. It was a gift from Tara. Titla yawned, folded her wings, and drifted into a peaceful sleep, dreaming of silver skies, glowing stars, and a new friend who lived far above. In a small cozy house at the edge of a quiet forest lived a boy named Ion. He was gentle, curious, and loved bedtime stories. Every night before sleeping, he would open his window just a little, hoping the cool breeze would bring something magical with it. Ion believed that the night was full of secrets, and maybe, just maybe, one of them would visit him someday. One evening, the sky was especially clear. The moon hung like a glowing pearl, and the stars sparkled like tiny lamps in the sky. The world outside was silent, except for the soft rustle of leaves and the distant sound of a lullaby owl. Ion lay in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the stars through his window. Just as he was about to close his eyes, he heard a faint knock, tap tap, on the window pane. He sat up quickly. "Who could that be at this hour?" he whispered. He tiptoed to the window and peeked outside. To his surprise, there stood a small creature with glowing eyes, wrapped in a cloak made of night clouds. It wasn't scary. In fact, it looked calm and kind. The creature smiled and said in a soft voice, "May I come in? I'm a traveler, and tonight, I am your guest." Ion blinked. "You're the night's guest?" he asked curiously. "Yes," said the creature. "I'm called Noor, and I visit children who still believe in dreams, stars, and quiet wonders." Ion stepped back and opened the window wider. Noor floated in, bringing with him the scent of the night. Cool, fresh, and full of mystery. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked around. "This is a nice room," he said. "Would you like a story from the sky?" Ion's eyes lit up. "Yes, please." Noor reached into his pocket and pulled out a pouch full of stardust. He sprinkled it gently into the air, and suddenly, the room changed. The ceiling melted into the night sky. Stars twinkled above, and tiny planets floated around like bubbles. "In the sky," Noor began, "there are cities made of clouds, rivers that flow with dreams, and bridges that connect thoughts. Every night, I walk across them and listen to the wishes children whisper in their sleep." He pointed to a bright star. "That one belongs to a little girl who wants to fly. And that one," he pointed to another, "carries a song that a boy hums in his sleep every night." Ion listened with wonder, his heart filled with warmth. "Do you visit every child?" he asked. "No," Noor said gently. "Only those who still believe in magic when they close their eyes. Only those whose hearts are open to peace and imagination." A soft silence filled the room. Ion yawned, his eyelids growing heavy. Noor smiled and pulled the blanket over him. "Will you come again?" Ion asked sleepily. "I will," Noor whispered, "as long as you keep your window open, your heart light, and your dreams kind." With that, Noor floated back toward the window. As he left, the ceiling slowly turned back into the quiet wooden roof, and the glowing stars faded into soft shadows. Ion was already half asleep, a tiny smile on his lips. On his bedside table, where there had been nothing before, now lay a tiny star-shaped stone, cool, smooth, and glowing faintly in the dark. And from that night on, whenever Ion heard a soft knock or felt the night breeze gently brush his cheek, he knew Rak'e Merman had returned, bringing stories from the sky and dreams from beyond. In a quiet little town surrounded by hills and stars, there lived a girl named Ine. She loved to dream. Every night, before going to bed, she would close her eyes and imagine wonderful places, floating islands, talking animals, chocolate waterfalls, and skies filled with flying kites. Her grandmother always told her, "One day, your dreams will come to take you on a real adventure." One night, as Ine was lying in bed, the wind outside whispered gently through the window. It was a soft, magical breeze. As she turned to pull her blanket up, she heard a distant whistle, low, gentle, and echoing through the air. Woo! Curious, she sat up and looked out the window. To her surprise, there was a shining silver train waiting quietly just outside her house. It wasn't on any tracks. It floated a few inches above the ground and sparkled like moonlight. The door of the train slid open, and a kind voice called out, "Ine, are you ready for a dream ride?" She stepped out of bed, feeling no fear, only wonder. As soon as she touched the ground, soft stardust appeared under her feet, and she floated toward the train. Inside, it was warm and glowing, filled with cozy seats made of clouds and pillows that hummed lullabies. A friendly conductor with twinkling eyes greeted her. His name was Captain Ninny. "Welcome aboard the Dream Train," he said with a bow. "Tonight's journey will take you through the magical lands of your imagination." The train slowly began to move, without a sound. Outside the windows, the town disappeared, and the sky opened up like a velvet curtain sprinkled with stars. The train soared quietly over forests, oceans, and cities made of glowing lights. Their first stop was Candy Cloud Island, where the trees were made of cotton candy and the rivers flowed with warm vanilla milk. Inez giggled as a fluffy bunny offered her a marshmallow from a rainbow basket. The second stop was the Library of Lost Lullabies, where ancient songs floated like butterflies, waiting for children to listen and remember them in their dreams. One lullaby gently wrapped itself around Inez, like a soft hug, and hummed her name. The train moved gently again, rocking side to side like a cradle. As they passed the fields of fireflies, thousands of golden lights followed the train, making it look like a glowing comet in the sky. Captain Ninny smiled and said, "These are your good thoughts, Inez. They follow you wherever you go." The final stop was the moon market, where dream creatures traded sparkling wishes. Inez walked past tiny dragons selling giggles, stars being polished by owls, and soft whispers being packed into little bottles. Captain Ninny handed her a glowing key. "This is your dream key," he said softly. "It will open your way back here, anytime you wish to return." Inez held the key close, her eyelids growing heavier. The train began its journey back. The seats now felt even softer, the humming even slower. She leaned back, wrapped in a blanket made of midnight blue, her heart full of magic. As the train floated gently down to her house, she was already half asleep. Captain Ninny whispered, "Good night, dream rider. We'll meet again soon." The next morning, Inez woke up in her bed. Everything seemed normal, except for the small silver key resting under her pillow, glowing just a little. She smiled, knowing the dream train had been real, and it was only a sleep away. Far beyond the clouds and behind the tallest mountains, there was a hidden place that no map could show. It was called Kota Saparionka Gain, a little village of fairies. No human had ever seen it, because it only appeared when the world was quiet, and the moonlight was soft enough to whisper. In this tiny, magical village lived the smallest and kindest fairies you could ever imagine. Their wings sparkled like sunlight on water, and they were no taller than a teacup. The village had mushroom houses, glowing flower lamps, and rivers that sang lullabies. One night, a gentle fairy named Mira sat on the edge of a petal swing. She looked up at the sky, watching the stars twinkle and the moon smile. Mira loved the night because that's when she and the other fairies would fly around the world, leaving dreams on children's pillows and sprinkling peace in their hearts. Tonight, however, something felt different. The queen of the fairies, Roshni, had called a meeting. She stood under the dream tree in the center of the village and said, "There's a little child in the human world who cannot sleep. Her dreams are lost. We must help her." Mira's wings fluttered with purpose. "I will go," she said softly. "I will find her dreams and bring them back." With a nod from Queen Roshni, Mira took a tiny jar filled with starlight dust and flew off into the night, gliding past clouds, riding moonbeams, and dancing with the wind. Far below, in a quiet little room, a girl named Alina lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. She had tried everything, books, songs, counting stars, but her dreams just wouldn't come. Her eyes were tired, but her mind was full of thoughts. Just then, a soft breeze entered through her window, carrying a shimmer of light. Mira floated gently inside, as light as a feather. Alina didn't see her at first, but she felt something calm and sweet settle in the room. Mira whispered in a voice only dreams can hear, "I'm here to help." She flew around the room, collecting the scattered sparkles of dreams hiding in corners, under pillows, and between books. With every tiny swirl of her hands, the room filled with warmth, like a hug from the stars. Mira opened the jar of starlight dust and sprinkled it above Alina's bed. The dust shimmered softly, floating down like glowing snowflakes. Alina yawned, her eyes finally beginning to close, her breathing slowing. A smile appeared on her face as a dream gently returned. a dream of flying through the sky, meeting kind animals, and visiting a village full of tiny fairies. Mira watched with joy. Her job was done. She flew back to her village, her wings glowing brighter than ever. The fairies welcomed her with flower petals and soft music. Queen Roshni smiled. You've reminded a child how to dream. The village shines a little brighter tonight. As the fairies danced under the stars, the village glowed gently, hidden from human eyes once again, quiet, peaceful, and full of magic. And in her little bed, Alina slept soundly, holding onto the soft sparkle that only a fairy's visit could leave behind. In a peaceful village nestled between green hills and quiet streams, there was a little house with a beautiful engine, a small courtyard, open to the sky. Every evening, the family would sit outside, under the stars, enjoying the cool breeze and the sound of chirping crickets. The courtyard felt magical, like a space where dreams could come alive. One evening, as the sun slowly sank behind the hills and the sky turned a soft shade of purple, something unusual happened. As Zara, a curious little girl, sat in the engine, she looked up at the sky, wondering about the stars. Her grandmother, sitting beside her, smiled and said, "Tonight, you will see something special, my day. The moon is coming down to visit." Zara's eyes widened. "The moon? Come down here." Her grandmother nodded with a twinkle in her eye. "Yes, tonight the moon will come to our engine, and you will see its magic." Zara was both excited and a little unsure. She had always admired the moon from a distance, its bright light making everything look soft and silver. But the thought of it coming down into the courtyard seemed impossible. And yet, her grandmother's words filled her with wonder. As the night grew deeper and the stars began to shine brightly, Zara felt a strange stillness in the air. The world seemed quieter than usual, as though everything was waiting for something. Suddenly, a soft glow appeared in the sky. It wasn't the usual light of the moon. This glow was brighter, warmer, and closer. Zara gasped as the moon began to descend, slowly at first, and then with more grace, like a gentle ball of silver light. It floated down, past the branches of the trees, past the rooftops, and then right into the middle of the engine, where Zara and her grandmother sat today. The moonlight shimmered like water, making everything around them sparkle in a soft, magical glow. For a moment, Zara could hardly believe her eyes. The moon had come down, and it was now glowing softly in their courtyard, as if it belonged there. The moon spoke in a voice as gentle as the breeze. "Zara," it said, "I have come to share my magic with you tonight. You see, I light up the world from above, but sometimes I like to visit the earth and share my light up close." Zara, filled with wonder, asked, "But why, moon? Why me?" The moon's glow grew warmer, and a soft laugh echoed in the air. "Because, little one, you have always looked up to me with kindness in your heart. Your dreams are full of light, and I want to gift you a piece of that magic." With that, the moonlight shimmered in the air and began to form something beautiful. Slowly, the light twisted and danced, creating a silver pathway that stretched out from the moon in the engine, all the way to the horizon. It looked like a bridge made of moonbeams, soft and shining, inviting Zara to walk on it. Zara's grandmother smiled and said, "Go on, Zara. The moon is giving you a gift. Follow the path of dreams." Without a second thought, Zara stepped onto the glowing path. It felt as if she was walking on a cloud, light and soft, with the cool night air lifting her spirits. She walked step by step, feeling the warmth of the moon's light guiding her forward. As she reached the end of the path, the moon's voice echoed again. "You can carry this light with you always, Zara. Whenever you feel lost or afraid, close your eyes and remember the magic of this moment. The moon will always be there, lighting your way." Zara smiled, feeling the moon's warmth wrap around her like a protective blanket. She turned back and walked slowly toward her grandmother, the moonlight still sparkling behind her. When she returned to the engine, the moon slowly began to rise, floating back into the sky as quietly as it had descended. The night returned to its peaceful stillness, and the stars twinkled again. Zara sat beside her grandmother, feeling a calm that she had never felt before. "The moon is always with me now," she whispered. Her grandmother smiled and kissed her forehead. "Yes, my dear. The moon will always light your dreams." In a peaceful forest, nestled between tall trees and soft green meadows, lived a gentle bear named Baloo. Baloo was a kind bear, always helping the other animals in the forest. He had a soft, golden-brown coat and the kindest eyes that sparkled in the sunlight. But what made Baloo truly special was his beautiful voice. Every evening, as the sun began to set and the stars started to twinkle, Baloo would sit under his favorite tree and sing the most soothing lullaby. His song was so soft and sweet that the whole forest would quiet down just to listen. One evening, as the sky turned a deep shade of purple, little animals from all over the forest gathered around Baloo. The rabbits, squirrels, deer, and even the owls would sit quietly, their eyes wide with excitement, waiting for Baloo to begin. Baloo smiled, his heart warm with love for his friends. "Are you ready for the lullaby?" he asked gently. The animals nodded, their sleepy eyes already half-closed, ready to be carried away into dreamland. With a deep breath, Baloo began to sing in his soft, deep voice. "Close your eyes, little ones, and drift to sleep. The moon is high, the stars will keep. The gentle breeze will sing you songs, and in your dreams, you'll dance along." As Baloo sang, the forest around them seemed to come alive in a different way. The leaves on the trees swayed gently, as though they were dancing to the rhythm of the lullaby. The soft wind carried the melody through the air, and the stars above twinkled brighter, as if they, too, were listening. The animals settled in, one by one, their bodies relaxing as the peaceful lullaby wrapped them in warmth. The bunnies snuggled together, the squirrels curled up in their nests, and the deer lay gently on the soft grass. Even the owls blinked slowly, their eyes heavy with sleep. Baloo continued to sing, his voice like a soft, warm blanket that made the whole forest feel safe and loved. "The night is quiet, the stars are bright. Rest your head, and sleep tonight. Dream of flowers, skies so blue, and all the lovely things that await you." The lullaby drifted through the forest, its peaceful rhythm spreading to every creature. The fireflies fluttered, their tiny lights flickering like the soft glow of stars, adding to the magic of the night. As the song came to an end, Baloo's voice grew softer and softer. "Sleep, little ones, sleep, and rest. Tomorrow will bring a new quest. But tonight, we rest in the forest so deep, under the moonlight. Go to sleep." One by one, the animals fell asleep, their breathing steady and calm. The forest was still, with only the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze and the occasional gentle hoot of an owl. Baloo smiled as he watched his friends sleep soundly. He knew that his lullaby had done its job. The forest was peaceful, and the animals were safe in their dreams. As the moon shone down from above, Baloo settled down under his favorite tree, his heart full of love for his little friends. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Good night, everyone. Sweet dreams." And with that, Baloo drifted off to sleep too, knowing that the forest was quiet and peaceful, wrapped in the warmth of his lullaby. In a quiet village, far away from the noise of the world, the night had a special secret. Every evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and the stars began to twinkle, something magical happened. The night would smile. It wasn't a smile you could see with your eyes, but rather one you could feel deep inside your heart. The gentle breeze, the soft rustling of leaves, the twinkling of the stars, they all whispered secrets of the night smile, a smile that brought peace and calm to everything it touched. One evening, a little boy named Ion sat by the window of his room, looking up at the sky. He loved the night. He loved how the world felt different, quieter, and full of mystery. But tonight, something felt even more special. The air seemed softer, the stars twinkled brighter, and the moon was a glowing silver smile in the sky. Ion's grandmother, who sat beside him, smiled and said, "Tonight, Ion, the night has a special smile. It's a smile that brings dreams, peace, and warmth to all who believe in its magic." Ion looked at his grandmother with wide eyes. "Can I feel it, Grandma? Can I see the smile of the night?" His grandmother nodded, her eyes twinkling. "Yes, my dear. Close your eyes, and listen closely. The smile of the night is all around us. You just need to open your heart to it." Ion closed his eyes, his heart full of curiosity. He took a deep breath and listened to the soft sounds of the night. He could hear the distant hoot of an owl, the gentle rustle of the leaves in the wind, and the soft chirping of crickets. Then, he felt something gentle brush against his face. It was the breeze, cool and calming, like a soft hug from the night itself. Ion smiled as he felt the warmth of the night smile wrap around him. "The night is here, my dear, with a smile so bright, It wraps you in peace. It holds you tight. Close your eyes. Let the dreams take flight, as the night smile guides you through the night. Ion's grandmother's soft voice whispered the words, and Ion felt his body relax. The smile of the night was not just something you could see with your eyes, that it was the way the world felt when it was quiet and peaceful, the way the stars twinkled, the way the moon glowed softly, and the way the breeze made everything feel calm and safe. Ion felt his eyelids growing heavy. He could almost imagine the smile of the night, a soft, glowing warmth that filled the sky and the earth. It was as if the whole world was smiling, sending a gentle message to everyone that it was time to rest. The stars will dance, the moon will glow, and the night smile will help you grow. Close your eyes. Let your dreams begin, for the night smile is where dreams live in. Ion's grandmother's voice was like a lullaby, and soon, Ion was asleep, his breath slow and steady, a peaceful smile on his face. Outside, the world was still. The moon smiled down on the village, the stars twinkled softly, and the night whispered its secrets to the world. The smile of the night was like a quiet promise, a promise that everything would be okay, that tomorrow would bring a new day, and that tonight was a time for rest and dreams. The night smile wasn't just for Ion. It was for everyone. It touched the trees, the rivers, the animals, and all the people in the village. It wrapped the whole world in a peaceful embrace, making everything feel calm and safe. And as the night continued to smile, the world drifted into sleep, held in the warmth of the night's gentle smile. In a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and whispering forests, there was a magical pond called Nilitaral, the Blue Pond. The water was not just any ordinary water. It shimmered in hues of deep blue and turquoise, glowing softly even on the darkest nights. The villagers whispered that the pond held a secret, one that had been passed down for generations. But no one, not even the elders, knew exactly what the secret was. They only knew that anyone who visited the pond felt calm and peaceful, as though the water had the power to heal tired hearts and restless minds. One evening, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, a curious little girl named Maya decided to uncover the secret of Nilitaral. Maya had always felt drawn to the pond. The moment she looked at it, she could feel a strange pull in her heart, as though the pond was calling her. Maya's grandmother had often told her stories about the pond. The pond is a magic day, she would say, but only those with pure hearts and open minds can uncover its true secret. Maya was determined to learn more. That evening, she set off toward the pond, the golden light of sunset fading as she walked through the quiet forest. The air was cool and filled with the scent of pine and fresh earth. As she reached the pond, she stood still for a moment, admiring its deep blue waters that seemed to shimmer like stars trapped in the sky. She knelt beside the pond and gazed into the water. The surface was smooth and still, reflecting the glowing moon above. There was a quietness in the air, as though everything around her was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Maya closed her eyes and whispered, "Please, show me your secret." For a moment, nothing happened. But then, she felt a soft breeze, cool and comforting, brush past her skin. The water of the pond began to ripple, not in waves, but in gentle circles, as if the pond was awakening. Suddenly, Maya saw something that no one else had ever seen. Beneath the surface of the water, she could see glowing shapes, like faint outlines of creatures swimming just out of sight. They were not fish, but something more mystical, something like gentle spirits of the water. Maya's heart fluttered with excitement and wonder. "What are they?" she whispered. The wind seemed to answer her question. It whispered softly in her ear, "These are the water spirits, guardians of Nilitaral. They protect the pond and its magic. The secret is not one you can see with your eyes, but one you can feel with your heart. The magic of the pond is peace, peace for those who seek it." Maya sat quietly by the edge of the pond, her eyes still closed, feeling the magic of the water wash over her. She could feel her heart slowing, her worries drifting away like the soft ripples on the surface of the pond. It was as though the pond was sharing its peaceful energy with her, filling her with calm. "The secret," the wind whispered again, "is that peace is within you, Maya. The pond simply helps you remember it. When you are still, when you listen to your heart, the magic will always be there." Maya smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. She understood now. The pond's secret wasn't something that could be touched or held. It was a feeling, a connection to something greater than herself, something peaceful and infinite. As the moonlight bathed the pond in silver, Maya stood up and gave one last look at the water. She thanked the spirits of the pond for showing her their secret, and with a heart full of peace, she turned to walk back home. From that night on, whenever Maya felt troubled or restless, she would think of the blue pond and the quiet, magical peace it gave her. And though the secret of Nilital was never spoken aloud, Maya knew that it was always there, in the gentle glow of the water, and in the stillness of her heart. Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of the world, there was a magical place known as Kilonanaga, the toy town. It wasn't like any ordinary town. This was a place where toys came to life, where dolls could dance, teddy bears could talk, and wooden trains chugged around on their own tracks. Every corner of the town was filled with joy, laughter, and the sound of play. One peaceful evening, a little girl named Samaya found herself standing at the entrance of Kilonanaga. She had wandered through the forest near her house, following a soft melody that had drifted through the trees. When she arrived at the town's gates, they opened slowly, almost as if they were expecting her. Curious and excited, Samaya stepped inside. The first thing she noticed was the streets lined with brightly colored houses made entirely of toys, Lego bricks, puzzle pieces, and even plush pillows. The air smelled sweet, like candy and freshly baked cookies. Samaya could hear soft giggles and cheerful songs echoing from every corner. As she walked down the cobblestone street, she saw a group of dolls spinning in a circle, their delicate dresses fluttering like soft petals in the breeze. A teddy bear waved to her, his brown fur shining in the sunlight, and a little wooden train passed by, puffing out clouds of steam as it rode along its tracks. "Welcome to Kilonanaga," a friendly voice called out. Samaya turned to see a soft, smiling doll with a blue ribbon in her hair. "Hi, I'm Lila. What's your name?" The doll asked kindly. "I'm Samaya," she replied, her eyes sparkling with wonder. "Well, Samaya, you've come at the perfect time," Lila said. "Tonight, we're having a special celebration, the Festival of Dreams. It's a magical night when all the toys come to life, and we celebrate together." Samaya's heart filled with excitement. She had always loved toys, but she never imagined they could be so alive and full of magic. "Can I join the celebration?" she asked. "Of course." Lila smiled, taking her hand. "Come, I'll show you around." The two of them walked through the town, where every toy had something to share. Samaya watched as a little ballerina doll twirled gracefully on the rooftop, a giant toy robot danced in the square, and a group of stuffed animals sang songs around a bonfire made of soft pillows. As the sun began to set, the toys gathered in the central plaza. Samaya could feel the magic in the air. The sky turned from orange to a deep purple, and the stars began to twinkle. A soft, warm glow surrounded the plaza as the toys began to sing a lullaby. "Close your eyes and drift away. In Toy Town, we sleep and play. Under the stars, we dream tonight, in the soft, peaceful moonlight." Samaya sat down on a soft cushion, feeling her eyes grow heavy as the music wrapped around her like a gentle blanket. The toys around her continued to sing, their voices blending together in harmony. Samaya felt as if she were floating in a dream, the sweet melody lifting her spirit. Lila, noticing that Samaya was starting to fall asleep, whispered softly, "The secret of Toy Town is that it's a place where dreams are made real, but only those who truly believe in magic can visit." Samaya smiled softly, feeling the warmth of the town and the love of the toys around her. As the lullaby continued, she closed her eyes, knowing that she was in a place of pure joy and peace. The toys, too, began to rest, their soft laughter and singing fading into the calm of the night. In a quiet village, far from the noise of the city, there was a night unlike any other. It was called Sitaran Wallirat, the Night of Stars. On this magical night, the stars would shine brighter than ever before, and the whole sky would glow like a sea of sparkling diamonds. Little Amma loved Sitaran Wallirat. Every year, she would wait eagerly for the night when the stars would shine the brightest. Her grandmother, who lived with her, would tell her stories about the stars and how they had special powers. According to her grandmother, the stars weren't just twinkling lights. They were little messengers of peace, happiness, and dreams. One evening, as the sun began to set, Amma sat by the window, gazing at the sky. The air was cool, and the first stars started to appear. Amma smiled and ran to her grandmother. Grandma, is it time for Sitar and Wally Rat? She asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Her grandmother chuckled softly. Yes, my dear. Tonight, the stars will shine their brightest. But remember, it's not just the stars that make the night special. It's the magic in your heart, too. Alma's grandmother took her hand and led her outside. The village was quiet, and the only sound was the soft rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. Alma looked up at the sky and gasped. The stars were already shining brightly, and the moon looked like a glowing silver smile. Tonight, her grandmother said, if you listen closely, the stars will tell you a secret. They will share their wisdom with you, and if you believe in them, they will guide your dreams. Alma's heart raced with excitement. She closed her eyes and whispered, I believe in you, stars. Please, show me your secret. As if in answer to her words, a soft breeze began to blow, carrying a gentle hum through the air. Alma opened her eyes and looked up. One by one, the stars seemed to sparkle even brighter, as if they were winking at her. Then, something magical happened. A soft light appeared before her, like a glowing trail in the sky, leading her to a hill outside the village. Alma's grandmother smiled and nodded, as if she had been expecting this moment. Follow the light, my dear. The stars have shown you the way. With a heart full of wonder, Alma followed the soft, glowing path up the hill. The air was still, and the only sounds were the whispers of the night breeze and the soft crunch of the grass beneath her feet. As she reached the top of the hill, she stood still and looked around. The sky was filled with more stars than Alma had ever seen. The light from the stars reflected on the soft, shimmering surface of the nearby lake, making it look like the water itself was made of stars. These are the stars' secrets, her grandmother whispered, her voice soft as the wind. The stars are not just faraway lights. They are part of you, part of every dream you have, every wish you make. They help you find your way, even when you feel lost. Alma closed her eyes, her heart full of warmth and peace. She could feel the gentle presence of the stars surrounding her, their light filling her with calm and happiness. It was as if the entire world was wrapped in a soft, glowing blanket. Remember, her grandmother said, whenever you feel afraid or unsure, look up at the stars. They will remind you that you are never alone, that their light will always guide you, no matter where you are. As the night deepened, Alma felt her eyes grow heavy. The soft glow of the stars seemed to carry her into a peaceful slumber. Her grandmother held her hand, guiding her back home, where she would rest under the same stars that had shared their secret with her. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by a gentle river, there lived a little cat named Luna. Luna was no ordinary cat. She had a magical rope, a shimmering thread that sparkled like the stars at night. This rope wasn't just for playing or climbing. It had a special power that Luna alone could understand. Luna's rope was a gift from an old wise owl who lived in the tallest tree in the forest. The owl had told her, this rope has the power to make your dreams come true. But remember, Luna, it can only be used with kindness and a pure heart. One peaceful evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Luna sat by the river, gazing at the sparkling water. She loved the quiet moments, the soft whispers of the wind, and the calm of the evening sky. As she sat there, her magic rope lay beside her, glowing softly in the fading light. Tonight, Luna thought to herself, I want to use my magic rope to help someone. As if in answer, she heard a soft meow. Turning her head, Luna saw a small kitten sitting at the edge of the river, its fur drenched and eyes wide with worry. The little kitten looked lost and frightened. Luna's heart filled with compassion. She knew that the magic rope could help this kitten, but she had to use it wisely. Hello, little one, Luna called gently, her voice as soft as the breeze. Are you lost? The kitten nodded, its eyes shimmering with tears. I don't know how to find my way home, it said in a trembling voice. Luna smiled kindly and stretched out her paw to the kitten. Don't worry, I have something that can help. She picked up her magic rope, and as she held it in her paws, the rope began to glow brighter and brighter. It shimmered like a path of starlight, glowing softly in the darkening sky. Luna held the rope in front of the kitten and said, This rope will guide you safely home, little one. Just follow it with an open heart. The kitten looked at the glowing rope in wonder. It felt a sense of calm and safety wash over it. Thank you, Luna. I will follow the rope, it said, its voice filled with hope. As the kitten followed the glowing rope, something wonderful happened. The rope seemed to stretch out before them, forming a soft, shimmering path along the ground. It wound through the trees, over the hills, and towards the kitten's home, a little cottage by the riverbank. With each step the kitten took, the rope glowed brighter, and the air around them filled with a peaceful, gentle music, like a lullaby sung by the wind. The kitten walked steadily, no longer afraid, as the rope led the way. Luna followed closely behind, her eyes sparkling with pride. After a little while, they reached the cottage. The kitten's family was waiting by the door, looking worried. But when they saw the glowing rope and the kitten walking towards them, they gasped in amazement. "Thank you, Luna," the kitten's mother said, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You've brought our little one home safely." Luna smiled softly, her heart swelling with joy. It was the magic of the rope that helped. But it was your kindness that made it work. As the kitten snuggled back into its home, Luna stood by the door, watching the family with a warm feeling in her heart. She knew that her magic rope was not just for finding lost kittens or guiding the way. It was a reminder of the kindness and love that could light the darkest of paths. That night, as Luna returned to her favorite spot by the river, she looked up at the sky. The stars sparkled down at her, and the soft glow of her magic rope lit up the path around her. She realized that the true magic of her rope wasn't just in its glow or its power. It was in the love and kindness that it helped spread. Once upon a time, in a world where the sky was always painted with colors of dawn and dusk, there lived a little star named Nuri. Nuri wasn't like the other stars in the sky. While the stars twinkled brightly at night, Nuri had always felt something special about the warm golden light that filled the sky each day. Nuri's older brother, Suraj, was the sun. He shone brightly in the sky, bringing light and warmth to the world every day. Suraj was strong and powerful, lighting up the entire sky with his golden rays. He loved helping the earth grow, giving energy to everything that lived below. Nuri always admired her brother, Suraj, and wanted to be just like him. But there was one thing that made Nuri different. She wasn't as bright as Suraj. In fact, she wasn't very bright at all. She was a small, soft light, and whenever she tried to shine, the brightness of Suraj would always overpower hers. The other stars in the sky would laugh and say, "You can never be as bright as Suraj, Nuri. You are too small." Nuri felt sad at times, but she loved her brother deeply. She often wondered, what if I could shine as bright as Suraj? What if I could light up the world like he does? One evening, as Suraj's rays began to fade, he called out to Nuri, "Nuri, my little sister, come with me. I have something special to show you." Nuri floated up to her brother, her soft glow lighting up the darkening sky. "What is it, Suraj?" she asked, her voice full of curiosity. Suraj smiled warmly. "Come with me to the edge of the world. I want to show you something beautiful." Together, they floated over the rolling hills, through the clouds, and to the farthest horizon, where the world met the sky. There, at the edge of the ice, Suraj stopped and looked down at the calm, peaceful ocean. "Do you see the ocean below, little sister?" Suraj asked. "Look at how it sparkles and shines with the light I give it." Nuri looked down at the shimmering water. The sunlight from Suraj made the ocean sparkle like diamonds, and she felt a sense of warmth and peace. "I see it, Suraj," Nuri said softly. "But why is the water so beautiful? It is only reflecting your light." Suraj nodded gently. "Yes, Nuri, but you see, the water only shines because it holds my light. Just like the ocean, you have your own light, even if it is small. You don't need to be as big and bright as me to make the world shine. Your light is special in its own way. It helps bring beauty to the world, just like the stars help light the night." Nuri's heart filled with understanding. She realized that even though she was small, her light still had a purpose. It didn't need to be as bright as Suraj to be important. Her soft, gentle glow could help guide others, just like the stars guided people at night. As the sky darkened and the first stars began to twinkle, Nuri closed her eyes and felt her own light shine a little brighter. She understood now. Her light, though small, was a gift to the world, and it was enough. "Thank you, Suraj," Nuri whispered, feeling a sense of peace in her heart. "I understand now. I don't need to be the brightest to make the world beautiful. I just need to be me." Suraj smiled lovingly at his little sister. You are perfect just the way you are, Nuri. You are my little star, and you shine in your own special way." From that day on, Nuri no longer worried about being as bright as her brother. Every night, she shone her gentle light across the sky, guiding dreamers and bringing comfort to the world below. She understood that sometimes, the softest light could make the world feel warm and peaceful, just like Suraj's bright, golden rays. Once upon a time, deep in the heart of a magical jungle, there was a secret known only to the animals who lived there. This was a place where the trees whispered the softest lullabies, the wind carried dreams, and every night, the jungle filled with the magic of sleep. One evening, a little elephant named Milo wandered deep into the jungle. He had been playing all day, running through the tall grass, splashing in the river, and making new friends with the birds and monkeys. But now, as the sun began to set and the sky turned a soft purple, Milo felt a little tired. "I think it's time for me to sleep," Milo said softly to himself. But wait, this jungle is so big and filled with so many wonders. As he walked through the trees, he noticed something unusual. The jungle seemed to glow, not with light, but with a soft, calming warmth. The air was gentle, and the leaves rustled like a soothing lullaby. Milo felt a sense of peace wash over him. "Where am I?" he asked, looking around. The trees seemed to smile at him, their branches gently swaying. Just then, a wise old owl named Ola flew down from one of the tallest trees. Her feathers sparkled in the soft moonlight, and her eyes twinkled with knowledge. "Hello, Milo," Ola greeted him in a soft voice. "I see you found the place where the magic of sleep begins." Milo's eyes widened in wonder. "The magic of sleep? What is that?" Ola smiled. "Every night, the jungle becomes a place where dreams are born. The animals who live here know that when they need rest, they come to this special part of the jungle. Hey, the trees, the breeze, and the earth all work together to help them sleep peacefully." Milo listened carefully. "How do the trees and the wind help us sleep?" he asked. Ola flapped her wings gently. "The trees sing a lullaby with their leaves, the wind whispers soothing stories, and the soft ground beneath us cradles our bodies. All of this together creates the perfect place for dreams to grow. If you let yourself relax and listen closely, you'll feel the magic." Milo felt curious. "Can I try it?" "Of course," Ola said. "Close your eyes and listen to the jungle. Let its magic fill your heart with peace." Milo sat down on the soft grass beneath a tall tree. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The air was cool and fresh, and the gentle rustling of the leaves sounded like a soft melody. He listened closely, and soon, he could hear the trees singing their quiet lullabies, the wind telling gentle stories of faraway lands, and the soft ground beneath him supporting him like a warm blanket. As Milo relaxed, he felt his body grow heavier, his muscles unwinding with each passing moment. The soft sounds of the jungle wrapped around him like a cozy blanket, making him feel safe and calm. "The magic of sleep is in the quiet of the night, Milo," Ola whispered from above. "It's in the way the world slows down, letting us rest and dream. If you let go of all your thoughts and worries, the magic will take over, and you'll fall into the sweetest sleep." Milo smiled and nodded. He felt his eyelids grow heavy, and the peaceful sounds of the jungle filled his mind with soft, gentle dreams. He imagined he was flying with the birds, swimming with the river, and dancing with the trees. All the jungle's magic swirled around him, wrapping him in warmth and peace. Soon, Milo was fast asleep, his little body resting under the stars, surrounded by the loving magic of the jungle. Ola watched over him for a while, smiling softly. "The jungle always knows when we need rest," she whispered. "And tonight, Milo has found the perfect place for his dreams." In a magical forest hidden far away from the world, there lived a tiny fairy named Lila. Lila was no ordinary fairy. She had the most delicate wings that shimmered like the morning dew, and she wore a gown made of soft petals from the most beautiful flowers in the forest. Every night, Lila would flutter around the forest, spreading sweet dreams to the animals and children who slept peacefully in their homes. But there was one special thing that Lila had, a magical flower, known only as the sleep flower. The sleep flower was unlike any other flower in the forest. It bloomed only once a year, during the quietest, most peaceful night. Its petals were soft and silver, glowing with a gentle light. The sleep flower had the power to help anyone who smelled its fragrance fall into a deep, restful sleep, filled with the most wonderful dreams. One evening, as the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Lila noticed that the sleep flower was beginning to bloom. She had been waiting for this moment all year, knowing that the magic of the flower would help many people sleep peacefully. As she approached the flower, she could feel the soft glow of its petals fill the air with a calming warmth. Lila smiled, knowing that tonight, the sleep flower would work its magic like never before. Tonight, Lila whispered to herself, I will make sure that everyone in the forest sleeps well, and their dreams are filled with happiness and peace. She closed her eyes, and with a gentle flap of her wings, she flew up high into the sky. From above, she could see the entire forest below, bathed in the soft glow of the sleep flower. The moon shone brightly, and the stars twinkled as if they were dancing in the night sky. Lila fluttered down to the ground, where the animals of the forest were settling into their homes. She whispered softly to the deer, the rabbits, and the owls, It's time to sleep, my dear friends. The sleep flower is blooming, and tonight, your dreams will be sweet. Lila then flew to a nearby village, where children were ready to close their eyes and drift into sleep. She gently touched each child's forehead, and as she did, the scent of the sleep flower filled the room, surrounding them with calm and comfort. As the children breathed in the soft fragrance, they felt their bodies relax. The world outside grew quiet, and the soft lullaby of the night played in their hearts. They closed their eyes, and soon, they were all in a peaceful, magical sleep. Lila smiled, knowing that her job was done for the night. She returned to the sleep flower and sat beneath its glowing petals, feeling the magic surround her. The night was still and calm, and the world was filled with the sweet dreams of all who had fallen asleep. The sleep flower has worked its magic, Lila whispered with a sigh of contentment. Now, I too will rest, knowing that everyone is in the land of dreams. Lila closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep beneath the gentle glow of the sleep flower. Her wings fluttered softly as she dreamed of flying high above the clouds, dancing with the stars, and spreading dreams of peace and happiness. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by hills and forests, there lived a little girl named Myra. Myra loved the night. While the other children in the village were afraid of the darkness, Myra always looked forward to it. The night held a special kind of magic for her, especially when the stars appeared in the sky. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Myra would rush outside to watch the sky turn from golden to soft shades of purple and blue. She would sit on the grassy hill near her house and gaze at the stars, her heart filled with wonder. To her, the stars were like tiny, sparkling jewels scattered across the dark velvet sky. One evening, as Myra sat on the hill, she noticed something different. The stars seemed to twinkle more brightly than usual, casting a soft glow across the village. The wind was calm, and the night felt peaceful, almost magical. Myra closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the cool, fresh air. When she opened her eyes again, something extraordinary had happened. The stars in the sky seemed to be moving. They were twinkling, yes, but now they were forming patterns, shapes that Myra had never seen before. The stars began to shimmer and dance in the sky, creating a beautiful, glowing path that stretched all the way to the horizon. Myra gasped in awe. "What is this?" she whispered to herself. Suddenly, she heard a soft, gentle voice coming from the stars. "Myra," it said, "come with us. We are here to share our magic with you." Without a second thought, Myra stood up and followed the shimmering path of stars. As she walked, the stars above her seemed to light her way, each step filling her heart with joy and wonder. The air around her sparkled with the soft glow of the stars, and she felt like she was walking in a dream. The stars guided her to the edge of a small pond, where the water was as still as glass. The reflection of the stars in the water created a stunning mirror image, doubling the beauty of the night sky. Myra looked around, feeling as though she had entered a world where dreams came true. "The stars have come to show you their magic," the voice from the stars said again, this time gentler. "They can help you find peace and fill your heart with happiness." Myra sat down by the pond, mesmerized by the beauty around her. "But how?" she asked softly. The stars twinkled brightly above her, and their magic seemed to fill the air. "Close your eyes, Myra, and listen. The magic of the stars is all around you. It is in the gentle night breeze, in the soft rustling of the leaves, and in the quiet of the world as it sleeps." Myra did as the stars told her. She closed her eyes, letting the soft sounds of the night wash over her. She could hear the whispers of the wind, the rustling of the trees, and the gentle ripples of the pond. It was as if the world itself was singing a lullaby. The stars spoke again, their voices now like a soft melody in her heart. The magic of the night is in the quiet, in the stillness. When you are calm and peaceful, the magic of the stars will fill your dreams. Myra felt her body relax, her mind quieted, and all her worries seemed to fade away. The glow of the stars wrapped around her like a warm blanket, and she felt safe, loved, and peaceful. The night sky, with all its twinkling stars, had shared its magic with her. As Myra sat by the pond, she felt the pull of sleep begin to take over her. The stars had woven a peaceful dream around her, and she was ready to rest. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village surrounded by green fields and blooming flowers, there lived a little boy named Ion. Ion loved to listen to stories from his grandmother, who would always tell him about magical lands where everything was sweet and peaceful. One evening, after a long day of playing, Ion sat by his grandmother, who was gently rocking in her chair, ready to tell him another bedtime story. "Grandma," Ion asked with a yawn, "can you tell me a story about a place where everything is sweet and kind?" Grandmother smiled warmly and nodded. "Of course, my dear," she said. "Let me tell you about a magical place known as the land of milk and honey." Ion's eyes widened in excitement. "Milk and honey? That sounds like the sweetest place in the world." Grandmother chuckled softly. "Yes, my dear. This place is very special. It is a land where everything is as sweet as milk and honey, and every dream is peaceful and filled with kindness." As Ion closed his eyes, his grandmother began to weave the story of the magical land. In the land of milk and honey, there were fields of soft, golden flowers that glowed in the warm sunlight. The rivers ran smooth and clear, and the waters tasted like the sweetest milk. The trees were full of honeycombs, dripping with golden honey that sparkled under the sun. In this peaceful land, the animals were gentle and kind, and they lived together in harmony. The birds sang soft lullabies every morning, and the wind carried the sweet scent of flowers all day long. The air was always warm and calm, and every night, the stars above shimmered like tiny drops of honey. One day, a young boy named Tariq found himself in this beautiful land. He had been walking through a forest near his village when he suddenly saw a glowing path leading him into a peaceful meadow. Curiously, he followed the path, and as he walked deeper into the meadow, he saw a large, shimmering tree in the center. The tree had golden leaves and honey dripping from its branches. Beneath the tree stood a small, magical creature called a fairy of sweetness. The fairy had sparkling wings and a kind smile. "Welcome to the land of milk and honey," the fairy greeted Tariq. "This is a place where dreams come true and everything is sweet. But only those who come with a peaceful heart can experience the magic." Tariq looked around in awe. The ground beneath his feet felt soft, like the fluffiest cotton. He could see cows gently grazing nearby, their milk flowing like rivers of cream, and bees buzzing happily around the honeycombs in the trees. "This place is wonderful," Tariq exclaimed. "How does everything become so sweet?" The fairy fluttered her wings and smiled. "Everything here is made with love and care. The milk flows from the gentle cows, and the honey comes from the hard-working bees. But the most important thing is that the sweetness of this land comes from the peaceful hearts of everyone who lives here." Tariq felt a warm, peaceful feeling in his heart. He sat down under the golden tree, and the fairy handed him a bowl of fresh milk and honey. As he took a sip, he felt a deep sense of calm wash over him. "The milk and honey are not just sweet for the taste," the fairy explained. "They are gifts of peace, warmth, and love. They fill your heart with happiness and comfort." As Tariq finished the bowl, he felt his eyes grow heavy. The sweetness of the land, the warmth of the milk and honey, and the calm of the fairy's words made him feel relaxed and content. He closed his eyes and drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep right under the golden tree. Ion smiled as his grandmother finished the story. "That was such a sweet story, Grandma," he said, his eyes still heavy with sleep. Grandmother kissed his forehead. "Yes, my dear. The land of milk and honey is always there when you need a peaceful dream. And just like in the story, when your heart is full of kindness and love, everything around you becomes sweet." Ion yawned and snuggled into his bed. "I want to visit that land in my dreams," he whispered. "Close your eyes, my dear," said Grandmother softly. and let the sweetness of the world fill your heart. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village surrounded by green hills and blooming meadows, there lived a young boy named Kian. Kian loved spending his days outdoors, running through the fields, playing by the river, and feeling the warm sunshine on his face. But his favorite part of every day was the evening, when the wind would begin to blow, soft and gentle, like a friend whispering secrets. One day, as Kian sat under a big tree in the meadow, he felt the wind begin to stay. It was a warm breeze, but there was something special about it, something that made Kian smile. As the wind brushed past him, it made him feel light and happy, almost as if the wind was playing with him. The wind wasn't just blowing, it seemed to be tickling him. It was a soft, playful breeze, just gentle enough to make Kian giggle. He closed his eyes and let the wind sweep over his face, feeling it dance through his hair and across his skin. Every time it touched him, it made him laugh, like a soft tickle from the air. This is the good wally hawa, Kian thought to himself, remembering the stories his grandmother used to tell him. The good wally hawa, or the ticklish wind, was a magical breeze that came only when the world was calm and peaceful. It was said to bring joy, laughter, and a deep sense of relaxation to anyone it touched. As the evening continued, Kian lay back on the soft grass, allowing the wind to dance around him. The tickling breeze swirled around him, lifting his spirits with every passing moment. Kian laughed softly, feeling a lightness in his heart. Who else is out there enjoying the ticklish wind? Kian wondered. He sat up and looked around. The trees were gently swaying, their leaves rustling in rhythm with the breeze. The flowers in the meadow seemed to be nodding their heads as the wind passed by, as if they, too, were laughing at the tickling air. Kian then decided to follow the wind. He stood up and started walking along the path that led through the meadow, the wind playfully tugging at his clothes, as if encouraging him to run and play. The wind swirled around him, soft and sweet, brushing against his face, and Kian couldn't help but giggle with every step. It felt like the wind was telling him a secret, a happy secret that made him feel warm inside. As Kian walked deeper into the meadow, he noticed that the tickling breeze was starting to carry something with it, a sweet fragrance of wildflowers and fresh grass. The wind seemed to be filling the world with its gentle magic. Every step Kian took, the air seemed to become even softer, and the laughter of the wind filled the space around him. He could feel his body relax more and more with every breath, like the tickling wind was lifting all his worries away. At that moment, Kian closed his eyes and imagined he was flying on the wind, floating through the air like a soft feather. He imagined the wind was his guide, taking him on a journey through the stars, across the mountains, and over the oceans. The ticklish breeze was so gentle that Kian felt no fear, only peace and joy. He could feel the soft rhythm of the wind carrying him higher and higher, until he was soaring above the world, weightless and free. When Kian finally opened his eyes, the wind had calmed, and the evening sky had turned a deep shade of blue. The stars began to twinkle in the sky, and the world felt still, as if everything was at peace. The ticklish breeze had stopped, but the joy it had brought to Kian stayed with him. He sat down again in the grass, feeling the softness of the earth beneath him. The wind had carried all his worries away, leaving only a sense of calm and happiness in its place. Kian smiled, knowing that the good wally hawa would always be there when he needed it, bringing laughter and peace to his heart. As Kian lay down under the stars, he closed his eyes and let the peaceful memory of the ticklish wind fill his dreams. The laughter of the wind would stay with him, and the joy of the evening would carry him into a restful, peaceful sleep. Once upon a time, in a quiet little forest, there lived a soft, fluffy bunny named Benny. Benny loved the day, but when the sun began to set, he always looked forward to something very special. It wasn't the stars, or the moon, or even the soft breeze. It was Benny's bedtime train. Every evening, just as the sky turned soft shades of purple and blue, Benny would hop up to his cozy little bed made of soft moss and fluffy leaves. But instead of closing his eyes immediately, he waited. He waited for the sound of the train. It wasn't an ordinary train. Benny's bedtime train was magical. It didn't run on tracks, and it didn't have any steam or engines, but it was just as real as the stars in the sky. The bedtime train was made of the softest clouds and the gentlest stars. It was the train that would take Benny to his dreams, where he would have the most wonderful adventures. One evening, as Benny snuggled under his blanket of leaves, he heard the soft tinkling sound of the train coming. It was a soft, melodious sound, like the gentle ringing of a bell. The train was arriving. Benny jumped out of bed and scampered outside to greet it. He saw the magical train rolling down a cloud path, its wheels made of sparkling stars, and its carriages soft as cotton candy. The train glided silently through the night sky, its gentle glow lighting up the dark forest below. "Welcome aboard, Benny," said a gentle voice from the train. It was Chirpy the owl, who was always the conductor of the bedtime train. Chirpy smiled at Benny, her eyes twinkling with kindness. Benny hopped aboard, and as soon as he sat down, he felt the train begin to move. The cloud carriage was so soft and warm, like a cozy bed. Benny snuggled in, feeling completely at ease. The stars twinkled around him as the train floated higher into the sky. "Where are we going tonight, Chirpy?" Benny asked, his eyes full of wonder. Chirpy hooted softly and smiled. "Tonight, we are going to the land of dreams. It's a magical place where all your wishes come true and every dream is an adventure." Benny's ears perked up. "Wow, that sounds amazing." As the train floated higher, Benny looked out the window. Below him, he could see the peaceful forest fading away, replaced by a sky full of shimmering stars. The stars seemed to wave at Benny as he passed by, the twinkling lights making him feel happy and safe. After a little while, the train came to a soft stop. Benny peeked out the window and saw a beautiful land stretched out before him. It was a place made of soft, glowing clouds, with trees that sparkled like diamonds and rivers that flowed with sweet, golden light. "This is the land of dreams," Chirpy said. "Hey, you can have any adventure you like. The dreams are kind and peaceful, and they always make you feel happy." Benny hopped off the train and found himself in a meadow of glowing flowers. The flowers sparkled like the stars, and the air smelled sweet and soft. Benny began to hop from one flower to another, laughing as he leaped over the petals. Each flower seemed to giggle softly when he landed on it, as if it was tickling him with its soft glow. After a while, Benny wandered into a magical forest. The trees in this forest were tall and gentle, their leaves shimmering in the soft moonlight. Benny could hear the soft sounds of a lullaby playing in the distance, as though the trees themselves were singing him to sleep. As Benny explored, he found a little pond, its surface glowing with a soft light. He sat down beside the pond and dipped his paws into the cool water. The water was so calm and peaceful that Benny felt his eyelids growing heavy. "I think it's time to go home, Benny," Chirpy said gently. "The bedtime train will take you back to your cozy bed now." Benny nodded, feeling calm and happy. He climbed back onto the bedtime train, and as the train floated back through the stars, Benny's eyes began to close. The soft cloud carriage rocked gently, like a lullaby, and Benny drifted off to sleep. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village nestled between the hills, there was a small, cozy house where a little girl named Lena lived. Every night, as the moon rose high and the stars twinkled brightly, Lena's grandmother would tell her magical stories. But there was one special thing about her grandmother's stories. They came from a mysterious chest in the corner of the room. This chest wasn't like any ordinary chest. It was old, with intricate carvings of stars, moons, and clouds on its wooden surface. It had been passed down through generations, and everyone in the family knew that it held something very special. The chest was called the Ratki Sanduk, the night chest. Each night, before Lena went to bed, her grandmother would open the chest, and inside it, there were countless little slips of paper, each with a different story written on them. These stories weren't just any tales. They were magical stories, filled with dreams and adventures. And every night, Lena would listen with wonder as her grandmother pulled out one of the slips and began reading. One evening, after Lena had finished her dinner and brushed her teeth, she sat down beside her grandmother on the soft, warm rug. The room was dimly lit by the soft glow of a lantern, casting gentle shadows on the walls. "Grandma," Lena asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, "can we open the night chest tonight?" Grandmother smiled warmly and nodded. "Of course, my dear. Let's see what story awaits us tonight." She gently opened the wooden chest, and as she did, a soft, golden light seemed to spill out, filling the room with warmth. Lena's eyes widened with excitement. Every time the chest opened, it felt like a new adventure was about to begin. Grandmother reached inside the chest and pulled out a small slip of paper. She unfolded it carefully, and as she began to read aloud, Lena listened closely, ready to be carried away into a magical world. Tonight's story was about a silver bird that lived in a land far, far away. This bird was no ordinary bird. It had feathers that shimmered like the stars and wings that could carry it through the clouds, all the way to the moon. The silver bird would visit the moon every night and collect moonbeams to bring back to the earth. One day, the bird met a little girl who was lost in the forest. The girl had been searching for her way home for many days, but she couldn't find the path. The silver bird flew down from the moon and gently landed next to her. The girl was amazed by the bird's shimmering feathers and soft, glowing wings. "Where are you going?" the bird asked in a voice as soft as a breeze. The little girl replied, "I'm lost and can't find my way home." The silver bird smiled and said, "Don't worry, I will help you. Climb onto my back, and I will take you to your home." The little girl climbed onto the bird's back, and with a flap of its wings, they soared into the sky. The bird flew through the stars and clouds, carrying the girl over mountains and rivers. Finally, they reached the girl's home, and the bird gently set her down in front of her house. "Thank you," the girl said, her eyes filled with gratitude. The silver bird smiled and replied, "Remember, no matter how lost you feel, there's always a way back. Just believe in yourself, and you'll find your way." With that, the bird spread its wings and flew back to the moon, where it would rest until the next night. As Grandma finished the story, Lena felt a warm sense of comfort. The idea of the silver bird helping the lost girl made her feel safe, just like how her grandmother's stories always made her feel. Grandmother closed the night chest gently and looked at Lena. "You see, my dear, the night chest holds the wisdom of the stars. Each story has a special lesson, just like tonight's. When you feel lost or scared, just remember that help is always near, just like the silver bird." Lena nodded, feeling calm and peaceful. She snuggled under her soft blanket, the room now quiet except for the gentle rustling of leaves outside the window. The moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the room. "Good night, Grandma," Lena whispered, her eyes growing heavy. "Good night, my dear," her grandmother replied, smiling as she kissed Lena on the forehead. In a small village where the stars twinkled brightly and the air smelled of flowers, lived a little boy named Ryan. Ryan was a curious and playful child, always running through the fields, climbing trees, and collecting shiny pebbles from the stream nearby. But every night, when the sky turned dark and the moon climbed into the sky, Ryan would feel a little restless. He wanted to play more, to hear more stories, to ask more questions. Sleep, however, had its own quiet way of finding him. One peaceful evening, Ryan sat on the windowsill of his room, gazing up at the stars. The world outside was quiet. The trees were still. The birds had tucked themselves into their nests, and the breeze whispered softly through the leaves. His mother came into the room with a warm glass of milk and sat beside him. "It's bedtime, my little star," she said gently. "But Mama," Ryan whispered, "I don't feel sleepy yet. I want to wait for the moon to talk to me." She smiled, brushed his hair with her fingers, and said, "That's okay. Sometimes, sleep doesn't come loudly. It comes quietly, like a secret." Ryan looked at her with wide eyes. "Really?" "Yes," she nodded. "Sleep tiptoes in when the world becomes soft and still. You don't even notice it arriving. It wraps you like a blanket and carries you into a dream." Ryan liked the sound of that. He finished his milk, crawled under his cozy blanket, and listened closely. The room was quiet. Only the soft ticking of the clock filled the space. The breeze outside brushed gently against the window, as if it were a lullaby sung by the night. A star blinked slowly in the sky. And just like that, Nind, the spirit of sleep, peeked into the room. Nind was not a person, nor an animal. She was soft like a cloud and light like a feather. She didn't walk with footsteps. She floated, smooth and soundless, through the night air. She wore a gown stitched with dreams, and her hair was made of moonlight. Nind looked at Ryan with kind, glowing eyes. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. She simply moved closer and reached out her gentle hands. A trail of golden dust followed her fingers, and wherever it fell, it brought calm. As Nind hovered above Ryan, the golden dust settled over his eyes, not heavy, just enough to make them slur until they were closed. Ryan didn't even notice her arrive. He didn't know that she had touched his forehead with a breeze softer than silk. All he felt was a deep comfort in his chest, like a hug from the stars. In his dreams, Ryan found himself flying over clouds, laughing with the moon, and chasing stars that winked and danced with him. He floated in a sky of blue and silver, where nothing was loud, and everything was peaceful. Outside, the wind hushed. The stars blinked slowly. The night wrapped the world in quiet. And Need, her wake done, slipped away into the sky, ready to visit another child in another village. Ryan's mother peeked into the room and smiled. Her little boy was fast asleep, his breathing slow and calm, a soft smile resting on his lips. She closed the door gently and whispered, "Good night, my moonbeam." Once upon a time, in a sweet little town called Sugarbell, there lived a cheerful girl named Myra. Myra loved bedtime, not just because it meant snuggling into her cozy blanket, but because each night, she dreamt of something magical. One chilly evening, as stars began to sparkle and the moon rose like a silver coin in the sky, Myra sat by her window with a cup of warm milk in her hands. She looked up at the clouds and whispered, "I wonder what my dream will be tonight." Her mother tucked her into bed and gave her a kiss on the forehead. "Close your eyes, my sweet girl," she said with a smile. "Tonight might just be a toffee-wally rat, a night full of toffees." Myra giggled. "A toffee night? What's that?" "You'll see," her mother replied gently, turning off the lamp and leaving just the soft moonlight to keep her company. Myra closed her eyes, and soon, her breathing slowed. The world outside grew quiet, and just like that, a soft swirl of golden sparkles appeared at the edge of her pillow. A magical wind, smelling of caramel and vanilla, whooshed into the room. When Myra opened her eyes, she was no longer in her bed. She was standing in a magical land where everything was made of sweets. The path beneath her feet was made of jelly, and the trees had leaves of chocolate. But the most amazing part was the sky. It was raining soft, colorful toffees. "Wow!" Myra whispered, spinning with joy. The toffees floated gently from the sky like snowflakes. Some were pink and strawberry-flavored, others golden and full of honey. They landed softly on her hair and shoulders, making her giggle as she caught one on her tongue. Suddenly, a tiny voice called out, "Welcome to Sweet Dream Valley." Myra turned and saw a little bear wearing a marshmallow hat. "I'm Tubble, the toffee keeper," he said proudly. "Tonight is a toffee-wally rat, and you've been invited to our festival." Myra's eyes lit up. "A festival?" "Yes." Tubble smiled. "Every once in a while, when a kind and happy child closes their eyes just right, they find their way here. And when that happens, the skies rain toffees all night long." Tubble led Myra through the valley. There were candy canes growing in gardens, gumdrops bouncing like bunnies, and toffee fountains that poured soft streams of sweet joy. Children from other dreams were already there, laughing and dancing as they filled their baskets with treats. There were gentle lullaby songs playing in the background, sung by sugarbirds with voices soft as silk. Everything was peaceful, and every sound was sweet. Myra sat under a marshmallow tree and shared her toffees with a sleepy squirrel named Pip, who offered her a fluffy candy pillow in return. As the night grew quieter, the toffee rain slowed. One by one, the stars began to blink a little slower, and even the candy flowers started to yawn and curl up for rest. Tubble walked back to Myra and said, "It's almost time to return. The dream is ending, but Toffee-Wally Rat will visit again, maybe when you least expect it." Myra nodded sleepily, her basket of sweets beside her, her heart full of happiness. "Thank you," she whispered. In the blink of an eye, a gentle wind swirled around her, and she was back in her warm bed, her blanket tucked around her just right. A soft smile stayed on her face as her breathing slowed once more. Outside, the moon glowed softly, and if someone listened closely, they might still hear the faint sound of sugarbirds singing in the breeze. In a quiet little village surrounded by soft hills and glowing stars, lived a kind-hearted boy named Ion. Every night, Ion would lie in bed, wondering what kind of dreams would come to visit him. He loved dreams. They were like secret stories made just for him. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and the sky turned deep blue, something magical began to happen. Ion was tucked into bed, wrapped in his favorite blue blanket. His room was quiet, lit only by the soft glow of the moon. But tonight felt a little different. As Ion closed his eyes, he heard a soft chime, like the sound of wind bells far away. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in his bed. He was standing in front of a tall, glowing golden door right in the middle of a silver cloud. The door shimmered like sunshine, and on it, written in twinkling letters, were the words, Sapnon Ka Dawaza, the door to dreams. Ion blinked in wonder. Is this real? He whispered. Just then, a soft voice replied, It is real, but only those with kind hearts and calm minds can see it. He turned around and saw a glowing figure, half light, half breeze, standing beside him. She wore a robe made of stars and smiled gently. I'm Noor, the keeper of dreams, she said. And tonight, you have been chosen to walk through the dream door. Ion took a deep breath and nodded. Noor opened the golden door slowly, and behind it was a breathtaking world filled with floating islands, rivers made of soft sparkles, and trees that whispered lullabies. The ground was made of clouds, and butterflies flew with wings that shimmered like rainbows. Hey, Noor explained, you can visit any dream your heart desires. Would you like to see the land of flying kites? Or maybe ride the sleepy whale in the sea of stars? Ion smiled. Can I visit all of them? Of course, Noor laughed softly. Time moves differently, hey. You can dream for hours, and only minutes will pass in your real world. Ion's first stop was the land of flying kites, where the sky was full of kites with glowing tails. He flew on one shaped like a dragon, soaring through the soft wind, laughing with joy. Next, he rode the sleepy whale, who hummed deep lullabies as it glided through a sea filled with glowing jellyfish and sleepy seahorses. Then he visited a library of stars, where each book was a dream someone had once seen. He read stories of courage, of kindness, of endless adventures in castles made of candy and clouds that rained music. As the dream journey continued, Ion began to feel lighter, calmer. His thoughts slowed, and his heart felt peaceful, like a pond with no ripples. Noor appeared once more and said gently, It's time to return now. But remember, the door to dreams will always be here, whenever your heart is quiet and your mind is open. Ion nodded, a sleepy smile on his face. The golden door appeared once again, and as he stepped through it, the world of dreams faded like morning mist. When Ion opened his eyes, he was back in his bed. The moon still shone softly outside, and the room was quiet. He didn't need to ask if it had been real. He knew it in his heart. He closed his eyes again, letting the calm wash over him. The chime of the golden door echoed gently in his mind, and before he knew it, he was dreaming once more. In a little town full of laughter and sunshine, there lived a sweet little girl named Lena. Lena loved bedtime, especially when her mother told her magical stories. But sometimes, even when she was tired, sleep didn't come so easily. Her mind would be full of thoughts, of what she did during the day, of things she wanted to play tomorrow, and of stories she wanted to hear again. One night, as stars blinked in the sky and the moon peeked through her window, Lena lay in bed and whispered, I wish sleep could just carry me away, like a feather in the wind. And just then, something amazing happened. A soft breeze floated into her room. It carried a gentle glow, and in the middle of that glow was a beautiful balloon, round and shiny, with all the colors of the rainbow swirling slowly across its surface. It sparkled in the moonlight and hummed with a peaceful tune. Lena sat up, amazed. What is this? A tiny voice, soft like a whisper, replied, I'm the Neen Ka Ranjin Gubra, the colorful balloon of sleep. I visit children who need a little help drifting into their dreams. Lena's eyes sparkled with wonder. Are you real? As real as a dream, the balloon replied kindly. Would you like to go on a ride? Without even needing to move, Lena felt herself float gently out of bed, wrapped in her blanket. She rose into the air and sat softly on top of the balloon. It was warm, like sunlight on a cozy morning. The balloon began to rise slowly, carrying Lena through her window and into the night sky. Everything was quiet and calm. The stars waved hello, and the moon gave her a sleepy smile. As they floated higher, the colors of the balloon glowed brighter. Each color had a feeling. Blue brought calm, green brought peace, yellow brought joy, and purple brought dreams. The colors swirled around her like a lullaby. The balloon carried her over forests of whispering trees, over oceans that shimmered like silver, and through skies where clouds yawned and stretched like sleepy cats. Where are we going? Lena asked softly. To the land of gentle dreams, the balloon replied. And just like that, they reached a place in the sky where dream bubbles floated gently. Each bubble held a dream waiting to be seen. One had a dancing bay. Another had a boat made of flowers. One had a sky full of flying books. Lena touched a bubble, and it opened like a storybook. She was suddenly sailing in a boat made of marshmallows, with friendly ducks as her crew. They sang songs about stars and giggled as they floated past glowing fish in the sky. The ride lasted what felt like hours, but Lena never felt tired or afraid. She just felt light, warm, and peaceful. After a while, the balloon whispered, "It's time to go back now. But don't worry, you'll visit again." As they floated back down, Lena's eyes grew heavier. The stars were fading, and the clouds were settling. The balloon gently lowered her into her bed, tucked her blanket around her, and gave her one last swirl of soft color. "Good night, Lena," it said, and vanished into the moonlight. Lena was already fast asleep, breathing softly, a tiny smile on her lips. Outside, the night was calm, and far above, a colorful balloon floated quietly, waiting for its next dreamer.